Hello Virgo, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Marianne and I'm here with your reading, Virgo, the first one here in the new year of 2024. I'm still saying Happy New Year if you were celebrating. So I've pre-shuffled, I want to say, some cards. I think that I need to draw more, but there's something I need to say first, I think, and then something adding to something. So I have a center card here in the middle, and then this actually, well, I put it here, but what it's doing is it's like it's circling you, like it's something that is circling. It circles around you here, like an environment, or maybe, I don't know, a bit of a protection or something that could be circling you at this time. It's like it's a sphere or something that is around you for some. But I feel like I have to talk about that first, and then it's like I'm adding something to it. So when I sat down, or I always kind of go through a process of like tuning into some energies that are maybe here right now for the sign I'm reading for, right? So for you, Virgo, it was something about idealism. And Virgos, you do have a lot of this usually, right? Or virtues or belief systems that take you to what I call the highest octave of something. There is an idealism or a perfectionism that sometimes goes with Virgo. And I feel like that idealism it's part of the environment you're in. Like the reasons why your octave is as it is, and where you consider something to be good enough or right or something, it's due to the environment. And maybe that's what this is. Like the environment you are in is determining some of the ideals you have. So this could be like, this is the Virgo shaped in some kind of form, right? I've said before that I feel like Virgos, like you could be, and of course maybe I get a bit of like Christ blood with the Virgo. Like it has this, there is this upper light thing going on, but I think that the Virgo, how it is you sometimes expressed today, it's not the right one. Like it has nothing to do with your clothing, your clothing style or your hairstyle or your makeup or something. Like the Virgo is, and it, like the Virgo energy, I believe it should be higher. It's more than this. It's much more. Like this idea of the clean home and spotlessness around you, this idea of like perfectionism in what you do, that is a side expression of who you are, what you are inside. And I feel like it's a bit corrupted. It's like it has been reduced to this, but it has been something else once. Right? It has been reduced to something that we see in the Virgo expression today, but the real Virgo energy was something entirely different in a higher vibration. So in the third dimension, it is expressed like that, but in a higher dimension, this is, I want to say, more Christ-like. Right? That is how it is presenting to me, this like Virgo energy. So the idealism, the way you present yourself, the way you come across, the way you show up in the world, is due to some kind of environmental surrounding. Like, you can present in a certain way because of something, because of some kind of environment here, or some kind of protection or something. You can present in a certain way with a certain idealism, with certain virtues, with certain, like, good, so-called good and right expression of light. That is how it comes across today, right? That is, it's like it's circles here around you somehow. But I also want to say that idealisms or virtues, they change when you are in another environment. So if this changes, whatever this is, if this changes drastically for you, the virtues will be changed as well. And like a real grotesque example of this, like, just to really point this out, is I recently saw a film about well, it was these jolly young football guys who were supposed to compete in some kind of different football camp, and they had to fly to it. But what happened was that the airplane went down in the middle of the most snowy and icy cold winter mountains. And some of the passengers in the plane survived and some died. The point of all of this was that those that ended up surviving there in this very, very hostile environment with nothing. Like, everything was stripped from them, right? There was no food, there was no shelter. It was icy, icy cold. It challenged them to like face that they were up against something here that was utterly destructive and threatening. The environment of the icy mountains, the no contact to civilization, the radio was down, there was no food, there was nothing. This changed them, right? It changed their entire understanding of what to do now. Their normal jolly life with beautiful healthy homes and supportive families and the abundance of food and shelter and everything, this was totally stripped from them. They were now in the most hostile environment, grotesque hostile environment. They were found after 3 months in this environment during winter, and the only way they survived was by eating their co-passengers who died along the way. This is like a real grotesque like story, but it's to kind of point out what I'm talking about. Like, some of the passengers, it was described in the film, they were quite religious. They had like a very like religious ties, and they definitely believed in right and wrong behavior, and what kind of is the change between like what makes us human and what makes us animals, right? But they were stripped to the core of this. Like, the more and more hungry they became, the more and more starved they became, the more and more this other part of them kicked in. this more animalistic survival, primal survival instinct kicked in. And when it kicks in like that, when you're threatened to the core of existence, it's like the idealisms disappear, right? Some were holding on to those longer than others, but eventually even the most like strong Christian believers, they gave in. Like they gave in to the change. They gave in to the dismissal of normal human behavior and civilization, and they were forced to change into something else. They actually became cannibals. Not by choice, not because it was just a fun game. They were forced to if they wanted to survive. So you can see what happens when they were rescued. They had to go through this extreme change inside themselves and with the others who were co-survivors, right? Like they had to look each other in the eye and kind of make this pact with each other that we are doing this knowing that this is changing us forever. And all the idealism, all the moral and ethics that they have been raised with, that was characterizing society they grew up in, the environment where they were normally safe and attached to and everything, this was all stripped away. And when something like that happens, when you are expressed to something so grotesque, so complicated and so grotesque and so violent, so harsh and hostile, they had to let go of certain idealisms. When you live a healthy, good life, you can have certain idealisms, certain ideals. You can pursue them, you can speak them, you can tell them. But if you are stripped from, maybe let's say health, you are stripped from support, you are stripped from vital, normal, you could say primal needs, something in you can change and your ideals change. Your thoughts of abundance can also change. Because what does that actually mean? Is it food? Is it emotional support? What is it? And some of all these ideals, when you were at home and you were just having a good time practicing football together, all this stuff, when you were healthy and strong and vital and you have slept and you have been like, it has been in a supportive, healthy environment. When this goes away, when this is totally gone, you are faced with, you could say, the ugliest you. Like you will be faced with it's like human versus animal in you, right? Like the two opposing energies in you. And your brain will go through all these dilemmas, all these all the taboos, all the ethics of all of this. As long as they were in the snow, surviving together in this way, they somehow came to some kind of understanding along the way when they have done this for a while, that this was just, it became normal for them, more normal. The more they forget the former ideals, the more something else becomes normal. They weren't even talking about it anymore. But you can see what would happen when they got rescued and they got home. Some needed treatment, like they had, like their frost damages, and they were dehydrated, and they needed food and shelter and rest and sleep, of course, and so on, warmth and everything. But what when things have become a little more normal and they should tell their family how they survived out there? And the stigma of having survived the way they did, and the choices they felt they were forced to make. Like, you see, the family, they still have they have lived, they went on living with perhaps worries and grief because their loved ones were disappeared, possibly dead, right, with the plane crash. And the anxiety and the worries about this, of course, but their life was still in the same environment. They did have shelter, they did have food, they have the worries. So when their loved ones come home, they are excited, they are so happy. But then at some point you're having this conversation. And then this truth comes out. And you can see how, like, the aftermath of such an event can change everything. You are no longer the same person. What you have experienced is now, it actually is part of a definition of you. Like, this is something you can't just close the door to and ignore it, right? You remember this. And everybody else around you knows, right? So you and the family you live in, they know this. Like, there is this stigma, right? That is now, you are together, but maybe there is still a distance because they may not get it, right? They may not understand. They may not understand what you were forced to do there. So even though they love you and care for you, and there is still this distance, perhaps. So these survivors, the environment where they can feel most accepted is with each other. Like, when they come together, they all look each other in the eyes. And they know what they did, right? They know what they were forced to do. They know that they had no other way of surviving. None. They were stripped from everything. They know what that feels like. They know when you have been stripped to the core and there is no other way than becoming something else and start behaving in a different way, start making different choices and forget about the old idealisms. Like, I know this is a very grotesque kind of scenario, right? But I hope you get my point, that if the scenario, the environment you are in shifts dramatically, like really shifts like that, and you find yourself overwhelmed by some kind of maybe natural force. It can be anything. It can be a regime in your country. It can be poverty. You find yourself doing anything to get a bit of rice, right? You see children prostituting themselves just to survive. They're forced to, right? When people are forced because of an environmental threat, you could say, or dominance, or a pressure, we will see human behavior that becomes extremely rigid in the normal, idealized human behavioral understanding. And it's easy to judge it, right? It's easy to just point fingers. No, you know what they did, right? It's easy to point fingers, but if you were in the same situation, how would you have reacted? Right? It's like idealism, especially in the world we live in. Like, I believe we need to have double standards. There needs to be more than one idealism or one ideal version of life. It depends on where you are. I grew up in Denmark, and which is it's a Western country, very small, but industrialized, and I had things. I grew up with things. I have always had a home, always a bed, always I had toys, I had things, But what would my life have been if I have grown up in the poorest region of Africa? How would my life have been? How would I have? So the idealisms that I have been living with in my upbringing were, of course, shaped by the society that I lived in. If I had grown up in like a rural, very poor region of Africa, my ideals would have been shaped around that. Like the most abundant state of my life in that little village would maybe have, it could be something like I would have been extremely, like, feeling very abundant and very happy if I could have a new blouse, or maybe a little more food, But because I grew up in my environment, where I grew up, where certain other things were present, I could have I could focus on different needs. I could focus on more of something, where the other environment would say, like, just owning a bit of something would be like a real big deal, right? So it depends on, like, the ideals of our virtues. They all come down to the environment you grow up in and the amount of support that was there towards that. So I feel like I have to address these ideas of ideals or virtues with you here, Virgo, right? And I've said before that there is this idea with Virgos that they have to keep the standard high, because somehow in Virgos they know that eventually something could tip, right? Eventually things tip over. Virgos are usually also very into, like, youth and health and vitality and like keeping young as long as possible, keeping attractive and young as possible. But we do know that at some point our bodies will become older. Our bodies will, change. Our bodies will not be the same. But Virgo somehow, I don't know if I would call it a fear, but it's there could be this fear of the doom, with the collapse, the where we can keep it up, where the highest virtues can be kept up, where it somehow just all falls down somehow. Virgos don't like that, right? They want to keep it up as long as possible, and present like that for as long as possible. I'm just saying it depends on the environment you're in, or you could even say maybe the body you are in. If you are a young Virgo, it's not a problem. When you're 70, it's different. Because some of this change has happened, right? And we somehow have to align to it, even though as a Virgo you may not like to, right? There could be health issues. And sometimes this comes as a shock for a Virgo because they normally have these high standards. They always eat well, They are very concerned about supplements and vitamins and healthy, balanced diet. And so sometimes it can almost come as a shock. And they don't get it. It's like, but I've done everything, right? But still age catches up, or still an illness can come in, or still something can come in, right? So ideals can be kept for a certain amount of time perhaps, or it can be kept within a certain environment. But there could be maybe a need to adapt to, like becoming flexible enough to needing to adapt to new situations. And then maybe find the highest octave within that situation, right? I still believe Virgos would still try that, even if they fell down in the icy stormy mountains. They would still try to find the best, or what they consider the most ethically best approach to something, even in the icy stormy winter. I'm just maybe putting a bit of a question mark to idealism, because idealisms, they are all well and good, but they depend on the culture you are in, or maybe the business you are in, like what kind of boss do you have, or family systems, what is going on there. And the family systems can also shape, you could say, an internal idealism that is, as long as everything is good and vibrant there, it can be kept, right? But when things start to maybe break down, or you have another thought, you have maybe different values than your parents have, then if it's supported, then you can grow those values. If it's not supported, you can be out in the cold, right? Where the idealisms and values or virtues are different. So this sometimes also makes us stay, right? It makes us stay in the marriage, stay in the family, stay within maybe job situations or something. And for this round of readings, I talk a lot about the core. So I talk about like what are the true values really for everybody. Is it the money? Is it the clean home and the nice clean kids? Is it a well-behaved pets, or is it the nice neat suit, or what is it? Like what is the real core value? of Virgo, right? What is that? Because um, when it all comes down to it, you can ask yourself what it is that you really need. What it really is that you, if you could wish anything in the world, what would you wish for? And then you could say, okay, then I try to find an environment that can somehow make me have that or feel that, or, you know. So, so ideas and virtues and righteousness, or you could say what's right and wrong, and so on. It all depends on where you live in the world. What is the ethics and moral and tradition and that comes with it? We can just take food, right? In like in some areas of the world, certain things are being eaten there with the greatest pleasure. And on the other side of the globe, they would look at it like this is the most disgusting thing, right? But it can be a delicacy in other countries and seen as the most vile, most disgusting thing in another culture. It all depends on, and again, the ideals that you have, it all depends on the environment. What is mirrored to you? Like when you say something, there is a reaction to it. So when you have figured that out, what the reactions are, you are now shaping and designing the best virtuous version of that. How to live in that environment. I believe that for most zodiac signs, like one of the most core beliefs is safety. Safety and validation. So the highest virtues, the idealism, the perfectionism, this can be a cover for, you know, like being safe. Like when I'm spotless, nobody can argue, or nobody can point fingers, or nobody can question, or nobody can punish me, right? So again, as I said, like the virtues here, they can all be, it's just maybe a cover for something else. Like maybe you don't like confrontation. Maybe you don't like that people could question you. Or not liking confrontation, not liking that others would take command, you could say. As long as you are spotless, you can also be, well, even to the point of becoming invisible if you really don't want confrontation, right? Or you are somehow looking with the spotless, perfect performance, looking for a validation. But this perfectionism can become a critic, right? That is constantly, it's walking beside you, right? Everything you do, then it adds its view on it. Or it's like a secondary voice in your head. So you can question your idealisms or your virtues or your rituals or your need for, you could say, the spotless life, you could say. You can question that to figure out where do my ideals actually come from, and why are they important? Why do I stick to them? Why do I try to like do this all the time? And what would happen if I didn't do it? Like, what would happen? What would the worst scenario be if I didn't do this? What is the chaos that follows then? What is that exactly? Okay, let's have a look at the cards here. So, woman holding a heart in the center here. So Virgo, woman holding a heart is I always see her as she's challenged in some way. It's like she holds this heart, but you see, it's like she's also crunching a little bit, like she's turning her back to something and kind of just trying to like protect her heart here somehow. And then she turns her back to something here. Like protecting it a little bit. And when we see this heart, it looks to me a bit like there has been taken some bites of it. Like it looks like some of these small hearts have been carved out of a bigger heart and have left a sense of holes in it or unhealed wounds in it, right? It looks a little bit like they have been carved out and have left like a void. And one is bigger than the others here. So these can indicate smaller woundings, but there's a big one here. That is right in the center, and this is one of the uttermost fears perhaps that you may have, right? So Virgo is known for like the virgin, the purity, the innocence, the good girl, the good boy, the and I want to say not just good girl, always good girl, always good guy, or always good daughter, always good son, never ever ever failing in that, right? So holding a big heart here. Now I get something like this could be a crush on someone. But because you have been hurt somehow before here, you are kind of protective about it. She's looking over her shoulder here, like, is something here? Is something threatening me? Is something like turning her back like that is like a protective thing, right? Not wanting to go there, but at the same time she's looking, probably not quite daring, but she could be curious, she could be fearful, curious, fearful, not daring. I hear sticking to protocol. It's like I stick to my security measures, even though I know that there's something here. It's almost like a wolf, right, that is surrounding her, right, seeing her as this prey somehow. Let's have a look. Divine feminine, magnetic receptive power. Beautiful. Wow, so there's a surrounding divine feminine energy here around you. It could feel a little bit like a protective mechanism. Like it could be a mother here, mother-ish, feminine, mother, sister, and some kind of feminine that is circling here. You are a masculine earth sign, but it's like there's someone is circling here around you. It could be a bit of an overprotective mother, perhaps. It's called a divine feminine. I want another card on this one. Yeah, it has this, that it's kind of circling around you. So this can be a protective energy that is there at the moment while you are figuring something out with the heart here. I hear sticking to protocol. Sticking to protocol means that there are some like safety measures, I guess, or rules. Sticking to the rules. Safety measures or rules here that are put in action. Now I get like this could be a sense of like an aura around you, like an aura here, or like something you want to show the world. Being a divine feminine here, like showing up, like this could indicate like your rising sign. Like your rising sign is like what we present to the world, but it doesn't necessarily allow other people to see what's like inside you here. So I get, it says here magnetic, receptive power. It could be that you're quite attractive, right? A divine feminine is usually like an empress, very attractive feminine energy. Magnetic, it draws to her what she could have. And Virgos, you're usually very, very attractive, very, very beautiful, very beautiful features and beautiful bodies, right? Because you usually also, again, as I said, you are very oriented about health and vitality and beauty and everything. So you could have an appearance here of being an empress, right? That could be what you show the world here. This is what you show the world. Or this could be an environment you have grown up in that it was adored, like and being like that is adoring. Like that is what it is attractive. This is what is favored, right? This is what is favored. So this is how I'm supposed to be. But I feel that inside there is a wounding here on this. Like this doesn't... It's like something is around you here that is, again, as I said, it can be yourself, right? It can be that you, like, in order to be a divine feminine here and look like a divine feminine, like maybe you have undergone cosmetic surgery, like to keep it up, to keep the appearance up, you know. You could have had cosmetic surgery here, right? You could have had, because that's what the environment is adoring, is favoring. And you feel a pressure to somehow comply to that, right? That could be what this talks about. An environment where something is favored here. And in order to keep it up, like to be part of this, to look like this, to show up like this, you have to like keep it up. But what it's doing inside you is actually making you unhappy. You know, like it's trying to keep it up is I feel almost like a self-betrayal. Because there's no heart here, right? Everybody is just looking at the appearance. Looking at the appearance, but not necessarily how you're doing, right? So this could be something about people look, if you look all right, then you are all right, you know? But nobody may be asking how you actually feel, right? As long as you show up, you stick to your safety protocol here on inside. You put on your business suit every day. You go and lift your weights or do your yoga or your fitness training. You show up. You do your stuff. You do your thing. At work, you are spotless. As I said, you are divine feminine here. As long as you do that, nobody will know that you are carrying this here at the core. So let's get a little more. Can we get the bottom of the deck for this one? So I get blossoming abundance at the bottom here. Well, blossoming abundance here would suggest that you are on, this is usually a driver card. At the bottom of the deck is a driver card. So the driver card indicates, you know, like a process that you are attempting or wanting. The blossoming abundance is like the beautiful garden. It's a blossoming abundance, so it means that it is blooming, right? But maybe not. It's starting, or it's getting there, or it's becoming ready. I get like a bit of, was it the Cancer reading? It says something about dawning empress, like a dawning of something. This is a driver card, like wanting to, that something should dawn and come forth and show itself. This would also be an Empress card, right? Divine Feminine is an Empress card. So maybe there is like an energy here around you that you are trying to embody, you would say. Embodying it. Like the blossoming abundance and the Divine Feminine here could go together, right? Like a healthy, vibrant, beautiful, feminine, attractive, magnetic energy. Like people would like to be in this garden, right? It's fresh air, the beautiful sunshine. It's quiet. It's full of life and colors and everything. But then there is this, and I always, when I look at this card, she holds this big heart, but it's like there's something here that people may not know, or you could say to have the blossoming abundance, you may need to face what this is. Like to become this divine feminine, again, as I said, it's like it's surrounding you, but maybe you haven't become it yet. Like it's there, you know, it's almost there, but maybe not, it hasn't quite landed yet, you know, that it's around you, like it's swirling around you here, looking for a landing place, right? Or looking for a safe landing here, right? In you. Uh, you could have the attempt of like being a divine feminine. Like you could be one who wants to become that or be that or embody it. And I feel like it's circling or helping you or something. It's around you here. But you know, you just need to look at what this is here. Because I feel like there is a very big heart here, and the heart actually wants this. Like the heart is looking for this, right? It wants to be able to show itself. She wants to be able to show herself exactly as she is, with this blossoming, beautiful features here. But you know, it's like there is something here that I want to address. I feel like I need to figure out what that is. It's like it has been carved out, taken, you know. Actually, normally I don't do that, but I feel like I want to take the book here and have a look at her. Woman holding a heart is usually also a woman that like is willing to offer her heart, right? But you know, when you offer a heart that has been wounded, it probably feels vulnerable, right? So it says here, woman holding a heart, a female dealing with family, love, and emotions. The woman on this card wears a butterfly in her hair and holds a lovely large heart in her hands. For a woman, this card upright could be a reflection of your own state of peaceful emotion and receptivity for love. Or it might be a message that your family issues are going to resolve. You are an intuitive woman who understands the emotions of life, and you are bringing the awareness to all that you do. This card upright could also indicate the presence of a female friend, teacher, or confidant who's here to help with issues of love, family, and emotion. This is an ever-tempered and caring person who resonates with you and your emotions. This could also portend a new love interest or friend coming your way. Somehow I feel like it's like this one who's circling here. It feels like them. Like it feels like someone is circling here, wanting to help with some kind of issue with maybe family issues. That family issues are going to resolve somehow. And I think that that's what the heart indicates, that there's something here that you hold a very big heart for it. But you see something has been carved here, or there could be disputes or something. Some issues that are maybe still going on, you know. But it seems like there's an energy here that kind of surrounds you, that wants to come in or land, as I said. Come in like a friend or teacher or healer or something that can help you with these issues here. And it's a thing that sometimes because we can have all these very high standards and virtues in our lives, but when our loved ones, our families, the one closest to us, our kids, when we have disputes here, it's like sometimes we even have to like swallow our own ideals in order for our children to feel okay or to be nurtured or cared for or so on. Do you see my point? Like, the virtues are good and fine, but what is the environment showing you? Like, if we talk about you have kids in your environment, and you can have all these virtues and standard, but if they are not thriving, if they become ill, if they are suddenly feeling become ill, or a partner around you becomes very ill, or you can have all these standards of how your relationship, your partnership should look like and how you should present in the world. But if something suddenly dies or something suddenly becomes very threatened and ill and sick, now your standards may need to change, right? If you have a very sick child, suddenly your life will be circling around that, right? You could be this one, and all your life is now circling around this, whatever that is, right? Someone who has a problem here, someone who may be wounded here, right? Maybe you are circling around them because now it has become your entire focus, and maybe it wasn't like that before. You can be this one who is realizing something here and wanting maybe to resolve a problem, having peace again in the family. And someone seems to be here who is maybe through intuition or something available here. Like this could be an archetypal feminine energy, like like a Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, something like that. A feminine energy that is very nurturing and caring and motherly, that is here, and you can kind of tap into it. Because what you would like is the blossoming abundance in the garden here, perhaps. You would like the garden to be okay and balanced and harmonious and solve these family issues, perhaps here. Like when those closest to us are suffering, we usually also suffer, right? Those we care about. Or if there is dispute in the family, yes, then and even if the dispute means that you have to stand your own ground, even if you are actually walking away from maybe toxicity, there is still like a friendly, very friendly, supportive energy here that is surrounding you at this time in your pursuit to figure out how to manage this situation you're in somehow. What are you turning your back to here? What is this about? Can I have a card on that? So I get 8 of Swords here. Like this is, you're turning your back to like an imprisonment, some ties, and where you are blindfolded, where you don't see clearly, and where you are put in a box, where you are not given any opportunities or sight or compass here, right? Feeling tied, unable to move, tied down in some way. Or some are unable to move, like there are roadblocks all around you. This is a sword energy. Swords talk about thought patterns. This can be like feeling imprisoned, invasive thoughts, critics, because like an inner critic can keep you in this position of procrastinating, not taking action, not believing in yourself, not feeling good enough. That is what this card talks about. This is like this mental prison of like not feeling good enough, not like not being capable, not having what it takes, you can't see, you don't know where to go. There is nobody here who would help you or support you or free you. You're all alone. You are, and you don't feel you have what it takes. There could be depression here, sleepless nights, things like that. You're turning your back to something like that, and kind of wanting to move forward, I think, here with this heart here, right? And something is, I feel like it's surrounding you here, like a motherly figure, like maybe like a spirit here that is kind of surrounding you at this time, Virgo. Beautiful energy here, trying to help you with this blossoming abundance of maybe, standing your ground or leaving something here, leaving something that has been very, very difficult and surrounded by darkness here, right? Yeah, it's like being locked in a room, right, where you can't seem to get out. You're not offered any kind of solution to something. And you're turning your back to this, right? Trying to move forward here with this, like these issues here that are maybe not healed, but being aware of them. The blossoming here, again, I get dawning, like something is trying to awaken in you and trying to take you somewhere else. So it's like, but she's still looking over her shoulder here, keeping a tab on this. Like she's maybe reminding herself what this was like, right? But she has turned her back and is saying, no, I'm not this one anymore. She's not blindfolded anymore, right? But she's still a bit naked here. She still has a heart that is maybe wounded from some situation here, and she is moving forward with like what she has at the moment. And maybe again the ideals, you're questioning maybe the ideals you had, or you had to maybe adhere to here, maybe you were fawning here to some other kinds of ideals. And these ideals, again, thought patterns here, all these ideals and virtues kept you stuck in some way, right? So maybe you are having a look at them, like you may be looking at those virtues, you may be looking at those idealisms, you may be looking at them, and then you are considering, but what is important in my life? Like these were maybe given to you, right? These was maybe something you grew up with, and you had to, adapt with them, to them, become them, right? But now you're looking at them, right, and see how they left you blindfolded, how they kept you in the dark of something, they kept you restricted in some way. Looking at them, feeling a bit maybe vulnerable or naked here, moving forward. But there is like beautiful energy. I get almost ancestral. It's like you have an ancestral feminine line here standing, applauding you, right? Moving forward here. Very beautiful energy. They want to see you blossom, right? They want to see you be this true version that you are, right? Not an adapted version. Not what is fashionable necessarily, but who you truly are here. So what are you moving towards? Can we have a card on that perhaps? What are you moving towards here? I feel like actually I should take a card on the heart. Can we get a little more insight about this heart here? Little more insight about the heart. Okay, beautiful here. Look at this. I get a high priestess here. So the high priestess is like This is well, the high priestess is, it's almost like, like that your heart has a voice here. But you see, it's like we see her, but then we don't see her fully, right? It's like something is becoming a little more apparent here, but we don't see like her full expression is not quite there yet. Again, I get this blossoming, this dawning that is trying to break through, right? But it comes with and through the heart. The more you heal yourself here, the more you will become her here. The high priestess is, again, I get stick to protocol or stick to the rules. I don't know if you are doing something here. It's like to escape or to get out of this, you have done something here. Like to get out of this situation, you've changed something. Right? You are now holding the heart here. So you have released yourself from certain sorts here, certain thoughts patterns, certain like belief systems, and you are holding now, like this is what you hold to move forward. So you are trusting in something else here now. Even if it's wounded, you're still trusting it. It could be something like, now I hear something like you're trusting your wounding, right? That you trust your wounding more. You trust your wounding more than the former ideals. Does that make sense? Like the wounding it has its own narrative. It's wounded because it has not been listened to, right? It's wounded because it has been ignored, or it has been silenced, or it has been abandoned or rejected. That's why it's wounded. Maybe you have a conversation here where you're trying to figure out what these carved, you could say, and they are hearts. That's quite interesting as well. The carved out portions here are hearts. So what you have done in the name of love, but actually it created wounding. Like what have you abandoned? What have you said no to or rejected, or maybe in yourself or with your own ideals or own virtues? Having a conversation here with yourself about this while you turn your back to whatever was, I feel like, what was once. The interesting thing is also that she's blindfolded here but not here. It's like even though she is in a conversation with her heart and it's wounded and it's maybe you don't see quite clearly yet. She's not quite there yet, right? Maybe she's still a bit unclear here, this high priestess, but it's still more honest. Like it's still more, it's honest, right? It's more there's more integrity here, even if it still hurts. Like I think she knows she's on the right track, right? But it could still feel, vulnerable here. And the high priestess, it's like you have a high priestess in you, right? And she is, like it's blossom, it's coming. I feel it's coming here. But she's not fully present yet. But she is showing up here. She is showing up. The high priestess is usually, the high priestess is known to, first of all, be feminine, she can work in the dark. She can be a bit invisible, something unsaid, something not mentioned, not shared. It's maybe still a bit of a secret. It could be that she represents, like a certain voice here. Maybe she represents other ideals, other things that come from your heart here. She can be the voice that was originally there, but it has been spotted here, or it has been polluted a bit, and that's why she's not quite standing out as a full form yet. It could be like a feeling of that you are connecting with her in pieces, bits and pieces. It's like putting a puzzle together here. And for now you have put down these here. You still need to like make the rest of the puzzle, but it's again, it's blooming, it's coming in here. It's just not quite there yet. And so, somehow I get the feeling of this idea of sticking to the protocol, sticking to the rules. It's like the rules that they have together here. Like I stick to the protocol, I stick to my puzzle. Like I'd rather stick to my puzzle of what I'm trying to rebuild here than I would ever go back to this, right? So you could be doing something here that is a bit of, and you are known to be the magician also in tarot, right? And here we have the high priestess. It's all mystic, a bit mystical, maybe a bit occult, mystical, a bit shadowy, in the sense that this can be something that you're not sharing, like this is a secret, or you're doing something in silence here. You're connecting with a part of yourself, or rebuilding, or detoxing, or something. And the more you do this, the more she is coming forth here. So we don't know exactly what she can do yet, this one, right? But there are different things swirling around her here. I get, there are wings here. I get, if you see, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's a cycle, and then these, like, it looks a little bit like horns, but this is sometimes also a symbol seen in Egyptian, like pharaohs or queens. This comes across to me like Isis. Let's see what else do we. There's moon here, moon cycles here. Maybe working with moon cycles and manifestations. A triskel is here, like the maiden, the mother, the crone. It's feminine. It's maybe mystical. There could be rituals here. There's like small pictures of stars and wings and yeah, like she could be. She is someone surrounded with a sense of mysticism or something like that. We don't quite know yet what she's going to be and what she can do. Right? She's still. It's like a child. It's like a child, it doesn't know its full power or potential yet. This is a potential, right? A potential, but this potential feels much more authentic to you. Like this feels much more right for you, right? To pursue this, even though it may challenge your ideals and rituals and virtues and what's right and wrong, and And I feel like divine feminine energy, this is a feminine also. She is a feminine, she is a feminine. I feel like I'm talking to a female also here. or definitely someone, if you're a man, you have a lot of feminine traits here, even though you are Virgo, masculine earth sign. So there is a swirling here of, and like they could go together here, right? This can be like a growth process, or as I said, like a resampling of a puzzle here, that you may attempting with magician energy here, trying to rebuild or reclaim or restore something that is authentically you here, and you are turning your back to something, some ideals and virtues and rules or morals or traditions that kept you in the dark here, right? Or kept you small even, or kept you unhappy, I want to say here. They are not your real virtues, right? That's what I feel like with like general Virgo energy. Like most Virgos, I don't think they are in their real, like their real essence. I really don't feel that. So there's a dawning of something here. I had like dawning Empress in the Cancer reading. Maybe you have to look at that as well. Or you can look it up if you feel like you want to, or if you know you're dealing with a Cancer, or you have Cancer in your chart somewhere that could that somehow it is, you know, like it's meshing, or it's part of what is going on here as well. Cancers are known to be very intuitive, sensitive, psychic, empathic, telepathic, things like that. And that could also be part of this High Priestess energy here. If you have both, right? If you have Virgo and Cancer, then she could be a mix of several energies here. Okay, so the High Priestess was about the heart, and what it is that is going on about the heart here, right? Now I wanted to have like a card of where you are going, like what are you moving towards. So when this is maybe manifesting here, like landing, when this blossom is now not like spring, it actually summertime, it has reached its peak, right? It has reached its full potential and strength here. Where are you moving then here, Virgo? Can we have a card on that? It's like none of the decks are actually quite speaking to me right now. I'm just kind of just well, there are two things coming up. Either it's because like what I have on the table, the decks available right now, it can't cover it quite actually, or it's because you're not supposed to know. Like that's a part of the journey, that you don't know what the end goal is, that you are trusting something, that you have to put your trust in something that is challenging all ideals and virtues in you. And it means that's part of the process, right? That you are actually now disengaging from a set of ideals that may have been controlling your entire life. A voice in your head, you know, that may have been controlling your entire life. And now you're moving towards something that I feel like has quite a big of a potential here. But part of the journey is actually not to know. Not to know where it's taking you. You have to trust something that may have been shamed, a part of you maybe that has been shamed at some point. Something that, like, maybe you gave it up, or you were to you were in trust, you gave something up, or you offered something, or you trusted in something. And now it's like you have to trust something that is maybe opposite of this. And it could be challenging you, right? But still it makes you feel like it's, even though it's vulnerable, it's maybe, vulnerable and touchy, sensitive here. But it's more authentic. Like it's more authentic, and therefore you have to go towards it, even though it may challenge all your what you know. As I said, this idealism could be that if I stay here, I may not like all the rules and settings, but at least I know that I know what it is. I have adapted to it. Now it's like I could be on like very uncommon ground here. I'm trying to manifest something else in my life. I have support, I feel like, here. I have support around me here for this. But still feeling naked, maybe feeling alone, like maybe feeling I have to keep it a secret. Not to, otherwise I stir the waters if I suddenly, it could be that you're building momentum here. That you're building some kind of momentum to take the next step away here. Maybe I could ask for the next step. Could I do that perhaps? I feel like there's something, either I don't have the cards that can actually show you exactly where you're going. I could have an attempt, maybe. An attempt. An attempt. Okay. An attempt. An attempt, I get communication, co-creation here. This talks about co-creation with the soul, co-creation with other beings, perhaps. Maybe even deceased loved ones. Communication, co-creation. Now, this can be something that she can do here, right? Maybe she has a way of communicating with something special here. These are Lemurian cards. This can be higher states of beings, or higher vibrational beings. It can be from other realms. It could be telepathic. It could be ancestors, deceased loved ones, things like that. So this is an attempt to show a little bit of what this could be, right? So when I have this card, I also feel like I want to say that there can be a sense of an incoming messages here. Like communication, right? That there could be incoming messages here. Like you have a conversation with something or someone. Like when I do this, if I channel something, right? Or this could be a medium that works with spirits, things like that. Shaman, perhaps. But this is an attempt. It's not to show exactly what it is. It's kind of a step or a bit of a a bit of what this is. I guess it's an attempt to show something about this. So let's have I take the book about this. So it says non-verbal communication, love language, telepathy, unique ways of communication, light language, multidimensional information, community coexistence, relationships, meeting our higher selves, really seeing someone, and deeper listening. So these could all be some of the traits that your high priestess has here, that your heart is able to, but right now, because there is still something maybe with family or something here that is a challenge. I feel like still a challenge, still something you're puzzling together. So my eyes have caught this specific line here. It says the download experience is extremely blissful, visual, and with a sense of fathoming the unfathomable. This tells me also something about that maybe you will be like shown or being able to try to fathom your brain needs to fathom something that you almost cannot fathom, something about like love, and unconditional love that you don't even know, right? That we are not used to here on earth. It says here, visual downloads of luminous coding that can be simple figures and complex and large enough to step into for an activation or healing transmission. Downloads are extremely blissful, visual, and with a sense of trying to fathom the unfathomable. And when returning to normal state of being, the information no longer makes sense. It's like decoding something that is not codable or decodable. I get translator, like being a translator of something, like trying to translate light language or codes. Again, I said it's like there are symbols and things around her here, like stars, wings, this symbol of like ancient Egyptian royalty. There is moon symbols, Triskel. There's something about the like information, right? A whole library worth of information imbued in a single letter. Yeah. The codes can open us to all that the multidimensional worlds can share. But it has to come in pieces, otherwise we would probably become a bit psychotic. It would be too much, right, to fathom. So, like, this could be something that takes a while, I think, here. Okay, so what else? What can I say else here? But you will know if this resonates with you, right? You know if you have been in a situation like this and you felt the need to maybe walk away even though it goes against the family ideals, or it's challenging your, you know, your inner feeling of being like a good person. Maybe, you know, like walking away could make you feel like a traitor to your closest family, perhaps, and those family issues are not resolved yet. Like you standing in this power of walking towards something else, that again, the high priestess can be a bit, you know, like a bit occult, a bit, she's a magician, right? You are a magician, Virgo. And the high priestess definitely is, right? And it's like, you know, from being a, can I say, a more like if we take a tribe, an old Indian tribe, within that tribe we have elders and youngsters, we have hunters, we have the wives, we have and then there is the medicine woman or medicine man. You would be the medicine woman or medicine man, but maybe you have been raised originally to become the wife or the hunter, right? But it was never right for you, right? It was never what is right for you. You are the medicine woman here. You talk to the dead or whatever this is. You go to the other realms and talk to the ancestors and get advice for the next harvest or the next, you know. You are not a cattle herd here. You are not you get my point? Like it's, you are one, the medicine woman in or man in the tribe has always been, has had high regard in that kind of environment. But you could have grown up in, let's say you have grown up in an environment that doesn't support alternative medicine, or maybe you grew up with, let's say your parents were doctors in a hospital, normal clinical educated doctors believing in science and medicine, but you incline more to alternative medicine. You believe in, let's say you believe in hypnosis or meditation, yoga, you know, something like that, that you go in a different direction, you have a different style here. And staying, and you could have been urged to go to study medicine, go to university and study medicine, right? But being there makes you feel trapped, right? It's not the right thing for you. Could be anything here, right? But you see, if you should walk away from that and choose your own path here and trust your heart, something that is more authentic to you, the blindfold comes off, but you have to turn your back. Like you have to say no to whatever urges or projections or claims or angry voices that comes from here. They want you back here. They want you to sit here, right? But you don't belong there. Something is awakening. Something is coming in. The blossoming abundance also comes with a sense of, I feel more at home. I feel more relaxed here. I feel this is the right place for me, right? I become more comfortable in my own skin. I see more and more of what this may be. But you know, what it may be could be a big challenge. Like maybe it's asking you to leave your New York apartment behind and your well-paid doctor job at a prestigious hospital, right? It's asking you to live with nature. It's asking you to like make a big, so again you see how the idealism can, how the virtues and the highest octave of your life and what you do, how it can change. And having to change with it, right? That if you listen more and more to your heart here, even if it's a wounded heart, you listen more and more to it and to the narrative and to the story around it, trying to figure out what was my heart before here. How did it look like before? Like if I could imagine myself being with the fullest heart, what would I be doing then? What would my life be like? If I didn't have to consider this at all, right? If I could just shut the door to this and ignore it entirely, what would my life be like? Like you would be in contact with other beings here. You would have a totally very spiritual life, I guess. Very devoted to nature, to maybe working with a spirit here. Maybe this one is that spirit. It's surrounding you here. This could be the same thing. Like this could be someone who wants to be with you. They want to have contact with you. They are surrounding you with a lot of bliss and love and support. They just need you to become ready to speak to them here, right? Hear them out. But this is still here, and she is looking over her shoulder, still reminded of this, still facing it from time to time. But I think she's not changing her way. Like she has determined to, even though this feels vulnerable and unfamiliar and strange, and I'm changing my virtues along with it. I see myself do other things now and have different values. I even see myself being a traitor to, or feel a bit like a traitor, to walk away from something here. But I have to, right? It's like your heart is urging you to go somewhere else. Can we get a little more on this high priestess here? So I get 9 of Cups here. 9 of Cups is a card of a happy single life. A happy single, I feel like well-established life. Like the 9 of Cups come in, this is self-love, right? It's self-care, self-love. It's being utterly and absolutely happy in your own skin. You live the fullest life you can. You're surrounded also with love here. Like you have surrounded, you are happy single here. That's what the card talks about. You have surrounded yourself with something that is kind and loving and blissful here. Like that is what I felt with this card here. Like you're surrounded with something that is very, very, very beautiful. And it's blossoming, right? You are working your way towards much more self-care, much more love and compassion and maybe new ideals. Again, he lives in maybe a simple home, he has his wine stocked out here. It could be that the people you are around, it's a compassionate, kind, loving environment here. With overflowing cups, right? With a lot of bliss, with a lot of understanding, support, care, that is what the Nine of Cups talks about, that the more and more you can love yourself here, the more and more you even love yourself for walking away. Even though there are others out here that are discouraged and disappointed in you and, angry with you, the more and more you stick to your protocol here. Yeah, I still have that. Stick to your protocol, stick to your rules here. Stick to your rules, not these, right? Stick to your rules, your virtues, your rituals, your new way of life, your new way of seeing yourself. The more you stick to this, the more you are embodying this high priestess energy, the more you dawn, the more you build, the more you aligned with a new energy here, something else here. Yeah, I feel like this should actually just fade more and more away here, right? This, you have already turned your back and you are moving towards, I want to say, a different, like slowly but surely you're walking away from whatever this is, right? It's this is also an identity, right? An identity that can't escape, that is bound, tied up, locked in. Where here, she's not bound. She may still be, carrying her wounds here. She may still feel vulnerable alone or on her own. The high priestess usually is alone. She works with the moon, right? She works with the tides. She works with and maybe that's why I had Cancerian energy also, the dawning empress here. Cancer being ruled by the moon, right? But there are so many symbols here that kind of talks to other kinds of mysticisms, other kinds of, other tools, other divination tools, other ways of, maybe other religions. Like if this has been a religious thing, maybe you have a new religion now, a new faith, a new path you can't seem not to go, right? You have to go this path here. Even though you don't know exactly where it's taking you, even though it's questioning, you are like, what is the right thing to do in life? And maybe what's right for me, right? Not just to be an established, well-working person in society, maybe also what's right for me here. What's right and wrong for me. Maybe you figured out it's wrong for me to be here, even though others like that I'm here. Then it's wrong for me. So I'm betraying myself here. I'm hurting myself here. And even though I don't know where I'm going here, this is better. Right? This is still better than, and more authentic and more real than this, right? So here I wanted another card on the Eight of Swords. Here I get the giveaway. So the giveaway is like you give something away that is precious, right? Something only you can do, perhaps. Like it's the giveaway can also suggest something that was taken or given at some point. But sometimes we engage in love relationships and we give our heart to someone, but they may not have given the same back, right? They may not have offered The giveaway suggests that you have offered something, right? Like here, it's a bit like she is someone who offers something. Here she is now protecting it. What she could offer, she's not offering. She's protecting it, right? Here she's just gladly offering, maybe to anyone, right? But and it's something very bright here, right? It's something very bright, very pure. But it has left you feeling trapped in some way. The giveaway, sometimes I also see it a bit like a sacrifice. You give something, you may have sacrificed something here, given something, but not receiving, the same. Gladly giving, but maybe not receiving much, right? The essence of the giveaway card is the giveaway is the gift you offer to life without attachment, without expecting anything back. You can only give what is truly yours: a smile, a nod of encouragement, a gentle touch, and a kind word. This is not giving to others when you no longer want, like a sweater that no longer fits, but gifting that which is most precious, your authentic love and genuine feelings. Yeah, that would be the essence, right? But you see, if you are gifting what is most precious, your authentic love and genuine feelings, of course, it's also important who you give it to, right? If this is like a trauma bond here, where you have been offering something very authentic, something very loving and genuine, very precious and pure. If this was a marriage, for instance, where you gave everything here, but it just trapped you and made you miserable here. Of course, this is not what you're doing. That's why you're protecting yourself now, right? You're not as open. You are looking further. You're taking your time. You are protecting your heart more now. Here, you just give it away. You open you're trusting. You open your heart. You're doing that. But you see, the giveaway shouldn't be about giving what you no longer want to give. Right? You can't give if you don't have anything to give then, right? If all you're giving is, you could say, used, like there's nothing left, the batteries are empty, right? You can't keep doing that. Then you become more protective about your energy. It says here, is it difficult for you to set limits on how much of yourself you give? If you give more than is healthy, then you will not be able to give for long. You will feel resentful with your partner or associates, and you will feel like the world owes you something in return. Notice if you give for any reason other than pure generosity. Are you trying to be liked or accepted? Are you hoping to heal an old wound? Start giving to yourself first and foremost. That's what the Nine of Cups is about, right? That's what you're doing now. Maybe you have been in a situation where you were locked, you were tied up in giving. Like you were asked to keep giving something here. You thought you were supposed to do this, or you were locked in some kind of, like maybe a marriage, right? And but now you are protecting yourself from this way of being, this state of being here, right? You're walking away from it, becoming more aware of self-care, self-love, like make sure your batteries are full before you start giving anything to anyone. Maybe that's why I say there are holes in the heart, like the heart is not at its full capacity. I think you're getting there, but you know what I mean. It's like it's still on maybe 60%, something like that, or even less. I don't know, but you're becoming much more aware of this. And what you have been giving is way too precious to just give. If nothing is returned. This is like a trap of giving. Feeling trapped to give more than you actually feel you can, and more than is healthy. Maybe you have been raised and have learned that giving is the ideal. Like that is how a selfless person exists. They give everything. Right? They give everything they have. They're always available. They are always, they whatever they are doing, they just let it go and rushes off to help someone. Stand up in the middle of the night without question, just going and doing, giving to here, right? Maybe you have been raised that's the ideal person to be like that. But you see, then you will be trapped here, and you will maybe feel resentful, and you will feel disappointed. And maybe it has left you like it. But you see, if that was the ideal in the environment you grew up in, you had no choice. Like that became one of your virtues, that became one of your highest octaves. And trying to pursue that, being that kind of person, that nice, you could say, could ruin your life. So having new ideals here, where you don't give all the time, you say no, you stay away, you're not leaving at 3:00 at night, depending on what the issue is, right? But you're making an assessment now, right? You're choosing that my healthiness, my well-being is just as important. And maybe you're also realizing all the people you gave to, they are not coming now and aiding you. They just took it for granted, right? But they are not able to actually reverse it and now give something back. That could be what you are now thinking. Again, something about the ideal, the highest octave, what is like the ultimate good. That maybe it's not good. Maybe your virtues is your biggest obstacle for like a healthy, happy life, right? And more balanced life. Like what you're doing here is challenging these ideas, these virtues, but I think you are on the right path here of a more happier, well-balanced life, Virgo, right? So please keep up what you're doing, trust in yourself, keep this self-care and self-worth up, building that dignity, building that worthiness, and knowing that what you are offering here, look how much it shines, look how beautiful and pure and like how beautiful it is. And this is not something just to be, be given just like that. Like you should know that you are worth so much more, right? And if people can't see that, I feel like it's disrespectful of what you're trying to do. What you have been, like this could have been, like the always nice person, the best nice friend. They're always nice. They always give the best. They always show up as the best friend, helpful and assisting and everything. But eventually maybe it should be reversed, right? Eventually someone should also give back to you. And I feel like something is circling you here, like really trying to almost hug you, right? With an understanding that you are worthy, right? With a lot of love here. I feel like you're surrounded with a lot of love, Virgo, for what you are doing at the moment. I've said before that I feel like feminine energy is sometimes really taken for granted, because some of it doesn't manifest in something you can see necessarily. Like when a mother gives a child a hug, the effect of the hug cannot be seen, right? Or you can't see how many hugs a child have gotten. There are no stamps on their bodies, right? Every time they get a hug from their mother, a true one. You can't see that on a child, right? You can watch their behavior and so on, and how they are doing, if they are healthy and vibrant and so on, but you can't really, you don't know. Much of the feminine energy is something kind of evaporates, right? Cleaning the house. Well, it doesn't last long. Then you have to clean again. It's only there for a bit of time, and then it kind of disappears again. Every time you wash clothes, it doesn't last that, like then you have to wash again and again and again. It's a continuous process of ever giving to something. I know the masculines would say the same, like working is the same thing. Yes, it is. It's a continuous process of feminine and masculine energy. It's just that sometimes the masculine energy is seen. Like there are stamps in the book. The building is now standing. You can actually see the building. It's an evidence. There's an evidence of the masculine energy more than there is of the feminine energy, and that's why when we can see it, it's like we don't have to pay attention, we don't have to give it value, because there is no proof, of it. And you see, a lot of things can be given here, like a hug, or a nice comment, or a smile, or an encouragement, or a listening ear. But there are no stamps. There is no there's no task list of this, and therefore it can be ignored, right? Nobody pays attention to that then, if there is no proof. And the giveaway can also suggest you are not paid, right? You're not paid for this. You're not paid for whatever you have been doing here. It's just given. And eventually maybe your heart it can't sustain, it's like the battery can't sustain itself. It needs to withdraw and recuperate and heal, right? And all the ideas that was associated with whatever this is, I feel like, obsolete. It's like you have realized they were not right for me, right? I may have grown up with them. I may have even been designed or shaped to be this, the good wife here, or the good husband, right? But it was suffocating me here. All these right deeds that I had to perform or do or be, like they were suffocating me. Now I'm alone here, I'm single perhaps. I have removed myself from maybe a marriage or another kind of oppressive situation, at least where you feel like you were withering, like you couldn't breathe. It was taking the energy from you. Maybe you got sick here, right? And you had to go through all your ideals, of maybe the happy marriage and the happy family life, right? Maybe you had to give it all up here because it was suffocating you, starving you, leaving you resentful and disappointed and bitter perhaps. So now you're building new ones, right? You're building your own ideals here. And I think like it's like there is support here, right? There is support. This can also suggest that you are in a very feminine energy of change, right? Metamorphosis, rebirth here, right? That you're working with the high priestess of transformation and change. With the heart chakra and with self-care, self-love. And something could come in here, like some information. Maybe a sense that it's like you could have a sense of communication with something here. Again, this was just an attempt to give maybe a bit of a picture of what is going on. Again, I feel like this circling here, it's almost, I get, there's only one here, but I get more like, it could be more like a lineage of feminine energy that could be surrounding you at this time, like really wanting to, they see that you're trying to heal maybe a bloodline wounding. Like maybe you are not the only one here. Like maybe you're not the only one who has, been like, where this has been present here. Like maybe there are more, like your mother, your grandmothers, maybe there are more here. And I feel like you're just surrounded with so much love about what it is that you're doing at this time here, right? So please keep up your encouragement, like you are on the right track, Virgo, I feel like here. Even though you may feel alone, even though you may feel, you will not feel for long. I feel like there is something here that really wants to communicate with you, show you that we are here with you, right? I also feel like, because this can be, like we give to what we see, right? So we give to what is available on earth. Other people, animals, our children, family, work. But the work situation is also about people, right? You have a boss, you have a co-worker. We give usually to this. This can be more spiritual. Here we can have a more, like spirit, We can have a different ideal when we, if we talk about God here, or a religious belief system. It could be more esoteric. It could be more of a feeling, of a telepathy, of an empathy. Maybe you find more union, like true union in that field. Maybe with people that are like-minded, You find more authenticity and union here than you do here, right? And I feel like you are on the right track here. You are moving towards a more abundant time. I feel like also an inner abundant time, like maybe a more, maybe more dignity, maybe more worthiness, maybe more like a sense of value, inner maybe compassion, inner happiness or authenticity. That you're working your way towards is surrounded with so much love here. I feel like, and again, I get sticking to protocol. Like maybe the protocol is that I stick to my feminine energy here. I'm not letting anything come in and interrupt my process here, right? I stick to this. I stick to my Empress here. I trust it, right? I want to trust my transformation here. I stick to these protocols, my own rituals. I stick to that because I can feel a difference. I have been able to turn my back here. I still feel maybe it's, still vulnerable or a bit, but it's better, right? It's still better than this. So I stick to my own protocols. I stick to my own maybe new ideals or new rituals. I trust it more. Like I trust this. I even trust my wounding more, right? It's like the wounding can even be the answer. Like through the wounding, through my wounding or my pain, I find who I really am. I find what I lost, right? Like through the wounding, I find what I lost, which is maybe me here, like who I really am. But it could really, like, owning the fact that you have a voice now that says, no, I want to be single. I do my own thing. I enjoy myself here with whatever you are doing, whatever fills you up, whatever fills your cups up here. I'm rejuvenating. I'm on the journey of rejuvenating or, loading my battery again. I choose this now. To say this out loud when you have been someone who always gave, I guess that people will not understand. Like they will see you maybe as selfish, they may see you as selfish, but I don't think you are. You are just balancing out the scales now, right? You need to give back to yourself here. It's necessary. is there an advice maybe? I feel like you should just keep on doing what you're doing, Virgo. That's what I feel like. You're putting back a puzzle here. You're restoring your energy. It's becoming more and more. It becomes more and more apparent what you actually are and what your own real ideals are and virtues are and highest octave are. And you stick to that, right? You just stick to that. So is there a bit of an advice, maybe something to have in mind? So I get justice reversed here. So justice would say that that something now reversed. I actually get that we say that justice is served, right? That a judge may sometimes come in and rule. And the rules the ruling is based on maybe legislation or certain kinds of laws or moral or tradition, right? In this case, it feels a little bit like what you are dealing with here. There is probably never going to be real justice. Like justice may never ever, you may never get justice. Like you may never get an apology. You may never get closure. You have to give that to yourself here. Justice is maybe not achievable. Like the situation you could be dealing with here is maybe never going to solve. Like you may never get, redemption here from someone. You may never get an apology. You may never get, let's say you are leaving your family here and your family members, they stick to their dogma. Like they stick to whatever they know here. And it means that you will never have the justice. Like you will never have maybe, they won't come back and suddenly say, oh, I see now, I'm sorry, we have probably just taken you for granted, we have probably just, like this, I don't think that you may need to bear in mind that the justice that you could be hoping for, or the equaling out of scales, the balancing of scales, it's not coming from here. You may need to give this to yourself. You may need to, forgive yourself for being trapped in this mindset. It's not going to come from them. Don't expect it to come from them. Don't hope that something is coming here and offering you an apology and open arms and we see now, of course, we shouldn't have done this and so on. This is also something you participated in this. You participated in this. Even though it was under duress or forced or you were shaped to be this, you still participated for a while here. So whatever justice you're looking for, maybe it doesn't seem like it want to come in, or you will never really get it. Like that, this could be something you have to bear in mind, that the ideal that someone, or the virtue that someone should come in and apologize and see the light, finally understand the truth of something here, it's probably not coming. Whatever closure you may feel, whatever judgment you would like, that you would say karma comes in and equals everything out, you probably won't get it. Like it's something you have to come to terms with with yourself here. Whatever you need to forgive yourself about this, that you somehow played in this. You played this game here. You became a participant here. And this cannot be changed, right? And you will maybe never get, like a redemption or an apology or a letter or something that where oh, now we see how this all. No, they stick to it. Like this can be a family thing. They stick to their dogma here. They stick to their beliefs. Don't expect them to ever come in and serve any kind of judgment here or justice. There is no real judge in this. Like this is just, there will maybe never ever be balance in this. It's just an example of two different ideologies. Over here there is an ideology and they stick to it, and you are now moving towards another one. But I just get the feeling where you are moving, you will find them. Like eventually they are here, right? Those who get you, right? Those who are like you, who think like you, who understand what you have been going through maybe, right? But right now it may feel like there is no justice. There is no... Justice also suggests that there's right and wrong. That something is right and wrong, right? But you could have, there could be people here that do not feel like that. You could have people here that are that thrive in this, that they like this, right? They like to be someone who gives, and they have the energy for it, right? But you didn't, and that's what matters. You didn't here, right? You didn't thrive in this. This was too much giving, way too much. So I feel like with this card, it's because it's reversed, right? It's like it could suggest that maybe you will never really get to the point where you feel that justice has been served in your situation. Like this justice is something that you have to find a way to give yourself. There is no real justice here. There is no real right and wrong. The only thing that feels wrong here is that you don't belong in this. That is the wrong. The wrong is that you can't be someone who gives like this. That is a wronging of yourself. That is the wrong. But others may be okay here. But you didn't, and you are walking away, and that's the right thing to do. But it just suggests that this idea of right and wrong, well, it depends on, as I said in the beginning, the environment you're in, how challenged you are, how threatened you are. And it can even bring out the worst in us. It can bring out like the voice in us that even suggests that I can stick to right and wrong. I can make justice. I can make a judgment. Who am I to judge anything? Like I just left this situation behind, which I thought was the right thing to be in. Like this could be like belief systems. Let's say a marriage here. And you thought like being married and having family and living in the suburb and having this job, that is the ideal life. But you are suffocating in it, right? Because it's not ideal for you. It could be for others. So who am I to judge here? Who am I to judge? If anything is good or bad. It depends on the person, it depends on the environment, it depends on the temperament, right? So that is also to maybe bear in mind that maybe there is no right and wrong. It all depends on who is looking, right? It all depends on your inner guidance, where it takes you. As I said, this could be occult, it could be mysticism, esoteric, and maybe something that would never align over here, right? Like doing what you're doing, this could suggest like being the black sheep of the family, being involved in something like this. Like this is strange and odd and not reliable and something we can't deal with over here, right? Like being over here, then you are bad. Like you're dealing with a bad crowd over here from this perspective, right? But you could now stand and look back and say, this is the bad crowd. And that's why this is here, right? It says, whom am I to judge which one is right and wrong? It depends on who is in it. Maybe there is no right and wrong, or good or bad. It all depends who is in it. Right? Something like that. This could be something you're learning also, that you are, like you're going through this process, changing your ideals, all your moral, all your traditions, everything is up in the air, looked at, considered, and you're realizing maybe there is no right and wrong, right? Maybe there is no, or you are, this can also be a, like a message that you are carrying at this time, that you cannot be judged, that you're not accepting judgment from others, right? That you're rejecting being judged here. Because you have learned this, right? You have figured this out. You have figured out that, well, it all depends on the environment and the rules and setting there and who is in it. Because if you enjoy yourself in here, you're happy here, you live the best life here, then nothing is wrong, right? Then the crowd then it fits, it goes together. It's a perfect match then. But if you feel miserable, it's because you don't fit there, right? But it doesn't mean that you could have a sibling that fits quite well there, and they are perfectly happy there. So there is not necessarily any right and wrong. It all depends on who you are and whether you fit into the environment. This is what I have for you, Virgo. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself out there and keep up this work here. You are on the right track, right? I really feel that. Maybe have a look at the Cancer reading as well, the Dawning Empress. I feel it's a bit of the same thing. Maybe we have a Dawning High Priestess here for you, or a Dawning Magician, right? But very interesting energy and very interesting to see where you're going, Virgo, right? Take care of yourself. I send you my very best love and light to you all. Bye-bye.